This episode is brought to you by today's sponsor, Likewise TV. Tired of shuffling through all of your streaming services, spending way too much time just trying to find out which one has your favorite movie or TV show? Especially since these things tend to bounce from service to service with hardly any warning. It just gets annoying. But this is exactly where Likewise TV has your back. Likewise TV is a free hub for all of your streaming services. Connect each of your streaming service accounts into one convenient place. One search will look through each service to find exactly what you're looking for, regardless of which one it's on. Save items into a single watch list so you can easily get to what you're trying to watch without jumping from platform to platform. Likewise TV also gives you personalized recommendations based on your tastes. With so much content linked together in one place, it's the perfect tool for surfacing the stuff you'll enjoy the most. On top of that, you can see likes and comments from friends and find new things to watch based on their recommendations. I've been able to find a bunch of stuff that I really enjoyed through this feature, and it's been the perfect cure for my indecisiveness I tend to get when spending lots of time searching for something to watch. Quit wasting so much time trying to find the things you want to watch and start spending more time actually watching. Use the link in my description to head over to Likewise TV and make a free account today to hub all of your favorite streaming services into one convenient place. And while you're there, make sure to give me a follow so you can see all of my recommendations in case you're looking for something to watch. Thank you so much to Likewise TV for sponsoring this video, and with all that being said, let's get on to today's episode. Hey everyone, chaomix here. I've been bottling up a super hot take for quite a while now. It's one that I don't think anyone is ready for. Alright, here it goes. Supersonic is lame. Now, am I just trying to be contrarian to my good friend Nick on Game Apologist, or have I just gone insane? Yes. You're gonna have to hear me out on this one, but as much as I love Supersonic, he really ain't all that. Supersonic, he's been around since Sonic 2 on the Genesis. Collect all the Chaos Emeralds, jump into the air with 50 rings, and bam!
Supersonic, baby!
Supersonic is the stronger and faster version of regular Sonic, with his spiky golden Super Saiyan inspired hair. He's also evolved past the need to use his legs. Badass. But not all Supersonics are built the same. Some games let you play as him in any regular old level. Others have dedicated final boss battles that let you take control of Supersonic with his own unique moveset, and then there's some that let you do both. Yeah, I see you, Sonic 3 and Knuckles. But I've been thinking these two different playstyles of Supersonic are not equal. The former, which is being able to play as Supersonic in regular levels, is everything that you've come to love about Sonic and the way he plays, but like, overpowered. He can blow past levels with insane speeds, easily get up to higher locations and explore, completely decimate bosses. It's great, 10 out of 10. But then you have the final boss battle iterations of Supersonic, which is actually how a majority of the games handle the form. The problem is, I'm actually struggling to think of any of these final boss battles that truly blew me away. At least in terms of gameplay, because when it comes to literally everything else, it's all phenomenal. You've reached the climax of the story, the stakes are high, the final boss is on an unprecedented scale, Sonic powers up, the music kicks in, and it's time to settle the score with the big bad. Literally some of the coolest moments in all of video game history. But then, you transition into the gameplay, and it's all downhill from there. Every game does it a bit differently, but you'll start to see a certain pattern when comparing these games side by side. The first game to have a dedicated Supersonic final boss segment was Sonic 3 and Knuckles. During the fight against the final weapon at the end of the game, Supersonic has to maneuver himself in the air and do damage to the boss's weak point while dodging projectiles along the way. One of the better Supersonic boss fights, but trust me when I say this, the bar is pretty low. The next Supersonic final boss battle would be in Sonic Adventure. This Supersonic is a lot less restricted compared to most of these other fights, as he plays similar to base form Sonic, just with heightened abilities. But despite this, it's still extremely underwhelming when it comes to the gameplay. Supersonic has to dash forward and maintain enough speed while also dodging projectiles in order to be able to glide across the water and spiral up Perfect Chaos's body to deal damage to his big lizard head. You rinse and repeat this enough times until he's defeated, and that's pretty much all there is to it. Then there's Sonic Adventure 2. In true Supersonic final boss fashion, you fly through the air, dodge projectiles, and hit the enemy's weak points, which are disgusting pulsating boils. Gross. It's also worth noting that you swap out between Supersonic and Super Shadow once your ring count gets low, but they essentially play exactly the same, so it's not like this adds any depth. You also have the supersonic battles in the Sonic Advance trilogy and Rush games. I'm lumping these all together because they're all decently similar to each other. In fact, they're all decently similar to everything to come before. You, hold on, let me check my notes here. You fly around on rails, dodge projectiles, and hit the weak point of the enemy. Yeah, are you starting to see the pattern here? Luckily, there's a few that break the mold, even if just by a little bit. Sonic Heroes has you play as 3 characters simultaneously, so naturally, the Supersonic final boss has you do the same. You swap between Knuckles, Tails, and Supersonic as you destroy incoming projectiles from Metal Overlord to fill up your gauge and use the Team Blast, the only actual way to do damage. This is another Supersonic segment where the characters control similar to how they already do, but with a few added abilities. Sonic 06 kinda does something similar. You swap between Supersonic, Super Shadow, and Super Silver, but this time they've got their own unique moves as you fly around and do damage with each character. Super Shadow is able to shoot out energy beams full-on Dragon Ball Z style. Super Silver can create a psychokinetic net that catches projectiles and shoots them all back at once, which is awesome when they don't all collide on each other and explode as soon as you release them. And then Supersonic has this rush move that only does damage once the boss's armor has been broken off. Sonic Unleashed has a Supersonic segment at the end as well with 3 different phases. The first has you rush forward to the boss while dodging large boulders. And once you actually get to the boss, you do some headbutts to these little snake guys and defeat them one by one to lower its shield. And then you do some quick time events to finish off the boss himself. Sonic Generations is another one where you swap between characters, but this time it's Super Classic Sonic and Super Modern Sonic. You rush forward, you dodge projectiles, and hit the boss's weak spot, yeah. Cool. And finally there's Sonic Mania. This one isn't on rails, it takes place in a more enclosed arena like any normal boss fight. But you fly around as Supersonic and take turns hitting the 2 separate bosses, swapping in and out to attack you. Dodge their attacks, bonk them on the head a few times, and they're done. While these Supersonic boss fights have some degree of variation, you probably noticed a certain pattern, right? Most of them are on rails, have you fly around and dodge projectiles, hit the boss's weak point, and rinse and repeat. Don't get me wrong, it's not a particularly bad formula. Most of these final boss battles as Supersonic are decently serviceable. But that's not really what I'm looking for in what's supposed to be the climactic, hypest moment of the game. It just doesn't cut it. There's just not a lot of depth here, and they usually end up feeling pretty anticlimactic. I guess you can argue that most bosses in the series don't have a ton of depth either, and I definitely agree with you there. But if there's any boss that should have a bit more to it than the others, it should be the Supersonic boss fight at the end of the game. I mean, come on, you're gonna make this a banger vocal track and not have the gameplay be just as hype? But here's the worst part in my opinion. Regular Sonic is just 20 times more fun to play than these versions of Supersonic, and that kind of defeats the entire purpose of the form. He's supposed to be Sonic, but super, which is why I always prefer playing as Supersonic in the regular stages rather than gaining control over him for the final bosses. Because for the Supersonic final boss battles, in most cases, his moveset is extremely bare bones. While regular Sonic is able to do things like spin dash, bounce attack, lightspeed dash, homing attack, drop dash, etc. How am I supposed to believe that Supersonic is superior when he can only fly and air dash? Base form Sonic with all of his abilities feels more powerful than Supersonic, and that's just backwards. I feel like the build up to the super form should come with the payoff in gameplay that lets you feel like Supersonic is truly superior to base form Sonic by building on top of what base form Sonic can already do. Some of these games, like Sonic Adventure and Sonic Heroes, kind of do this, where Supersonic's moveset is an enhanced version of his base form moveset. But even with this, it just shows another glaring issue these final battles have. None of them really take advantage of Supersonic's enhanced abilities because they usually take place in some empty void. A void where you aren't able to use your increased speed to do anything interesting. There is quite literally no level design here, and if there is, it's extremely minimal. You see, when playing as Supersonic in regular levels, it's easy to compare him to his base form counterpart. After all, you go through the same loop-de-loops, run off the same ramps, and go against the same enemies. And with Supersonic's enhanced moveset and invincibility, it's really easy to see how he's just straight up better than Sonic in every way. It does a perfect job at showing you why this Sonic is worthy of the Super title, and really makes your effort in collecting all the Chaos Emeralds pay off. But once you take away these parallels to the regular gameplay, not only is there no basis for comparison between the two forms, which makes gauging how powerful the Super form really is difficult, it also pushes the character to be designed to play in a completely different way. And because the gameplay in these final bosses only lasts a few minutes, why would the developers spend a ton of time creating an entirely new and completely fleshed out character with a bunch of super cool abilities? Especially since it wouldn't be compatible with the rest of the game, it just doesn't logistically make sense for them to spend a ton of time on something that'll only last 5 minutes at max. I think some of the key ingredients to a phenomenal Supersonic final boss battle are out there somewhere. There are some great elements sprinkled in all throughout all of these Supersonic boss fights that we just went over, but not enough in a single one of these fights to have any of them stand out as truly amazing. So let's look and see what was done right in all of these Supersonic final boss fights and see if we can brainstorm something here. I really like the idea from Sonic Adventure 1 of having to maintain your speed in order to reach the boss's weak point and do damage. I think it does a good job of letting you play as Supersonic in a way that still feels like Sonic. Like I mentioned before, Supersonic is at his best when he's Sonic, but super. Meaning he should play like how he normally does, but better, and with some extra abilities that easily shows why Supersonic is super in the first place. But this alone isn't enough. When it comes to the fights themselves, they need to be much more than simply flying around, dodging shit, and running into the boss's weak point. These battles need actual level design. I always really enjoyed the boss battles that were more so levels than actual fights. An excellent example of this is the perfect Chaos boss fight in Sonic Generations. In order to do damage, you have to make your way through a small portion of a level where you can finally take your shot right at the end. Another great example of this is Dark Gaia's first phase in Sonic Unleashed. In a similar fashion, you need to get through these short sections, quickly hurtling over obstacles to make it to the end in time to deal damage. So what if Supersonic boss battles were handled in a similar way? He'd play like Sonic, but better obviously, and you take advantage of his extra speed and blaze through more level design oriented obstacles to do damage. But maybe you'd also need to have a certain amount of speed by the end to successfully land a hit on the boss, similar to SA1. Oh, and by the way, by doing this, Sonic Team would also be building a Supersonic that'd be playable in any regular level, so they can do the morally right thing and let us have both a playable Supersonic throughout the entire game and a hype Supersonic final boss segment. But maybe having more fleshed out level design in these bosses is too much to ask for, and Sonic Team wants to insist on having a more fight-oriented final boss. Fine. In that case, I think we should look towards Sonic Mania, where you have full control of your movement and aren't on rails like a lot of these other Supersonic fights. But if we're gonna do it like this, we need a fleshed out Supersonic with a unique and sick moveset. Having less abilities than regular Sonic should be a crime. I always thought the Superform abilities in Sonic 06 of all things were actually pretty cool. So maybe if they took that concept, bundled it all into Supersonic, and brought it up to the next level, we could be onto something. But I do also really enjoy those boss fights where you swap out between different characters. It gave a sort of strategy to ring management and also a rock, paper, scissors puzzle element to the boss fight itself. I think the boss itself should also be more dynamic. There should always be multiple phases like how there are in Sonic 3 and Knuckles and Sonic Unleashed. I think one of the worst parts of these boss fights tends to be how they're super rinse and repeat, so having multiple phases would do a lot to fix that. So yeah, those are just some of my ideas I'm throwing on the table. I think adding these things would make the Supersonic boss fights a lot cooler, but then again, there isn't just one right answer here. So let me know in the comments how you'd make your ideal Supersonic final boss fight. I will admit, sometimes the music and story alone are enough to carry these end portions of these games. As much as I think that the actual gameplay from Final Hazard and Sonic Adventure 2 blows, it's still something that I look back fondly of, and it's one of my favorite endings of the entire series. And then you have something like the Sonic 06 final boss fight that's actually pretty decent despite, the rest of the game. But I think the Supersonic final boss fights have a lot of room for improvement, at least in terms of gameplay. Hopefully one day, Sonic Team can find a way to make Supersonic worthy of his title, because as it stands now, Supersonic in these final boss battles is just lame. Hey everyone, thank you so much for making it to the end of this video. If you like what you saw, make sure to leave a like and subscribe for more content similar to this. In the comments below, let me know what you think are the perfect ingredients for the perfect supersonic final boss battle. And to take that discussion even further beyond, make sure to join our community Discord. I'll leave the link to that in the description. And finally, you know I gotta thank my amazing channel members. You all absolutely rock and are my biggest motivators. If you'd also like to become a channel member for only $2 along with getting some pretty awesome perks, press the join button beneath this video or the channel membership link in the description for more details. And with all that being said, I hope everyone has a fantastic day. Peace.
Wake up,